get started here, let's suppose that you are in a European history class, and to cap off the semester, your group wants to put together a trip over break to Europe, where you've narrowed down the locations you can fly into to 4 options. You can either go to Paris, Rome, St. Petersburg, or Tallinn, where each of the 37 people in the class has their vote counted on a ballot, and you've got this great big pile of options presented like so, where it's kind of hard to tell what anybody actually wants. It's just a mess of data with those 4 things ranked out all in those ways for every single person, and it's not entirely clear what that means. So to help make it a little bit clearer, you can put what you have, you can put those 37 ballots into a thing called a preference table, where a preference table is just a tabular representation of the ballots you have, where each of them is grouped by a common arrangement. So, for example, there were 14 ballots that had Paris as the first choice, Rome as the second choice, St. Petersburg as the third, and Tallinn as the fourth. So you have 14 in that column heading with those rows. Then you'd have 10 that voted for St. Petersburg, Rome, Tallinn, Paris, 8 that voted for Tallinn, St. Petersburg, Rome, and Paris, 4 that voted for Rome, Tallinn, St. Petersburg, and Paris, and then 1 lonely person that really wants to go to St. Petersburg or Tallinn and has no interest in going to Rome or Paris. They want to go to Eastern Europe, not anywhere that most people are going for a European vacation. So now we have a bit of a clearer picture, but it's still a little bit hard to tell who won there. And that's what we're going to talk about in this section, and a lot of this chapter really is not just voting methods, but elections. How you determine the winner of an election with situations like this, where you have all of these options. You have to say, okay, what do they mean? Who do we actually select from this group as our winner? Or where do we select for a group as our winner? Where elections are a bit of a hot button topic. There are lots of different ways that elections can go. There are lots of different ways throughout the world that elections are handled for various contexts, including things like government elections, probably what you're most familiar with. But for once, I have decided to stay away from politics, at least a little bit, and stick to a more harmless example that we're going to build this section around. Relatively harmless. I suppose some people might be insulted that I chose Estonia as a location here instead of, say, I don't know, Denmark, but I needed a city that began with the letter T because I wanted to have one that began with the letter T, and that's what we're working with. Where the first thing that we have here, the first the first method that we're going to have for determining what happens with this preference table is the simplest. It's what's called the plurality method.